morning and welcome back to the Prestige webinar series. My name is Melissa Analfo. I am the Supervisor of Client Success and Operations here at Prestige, and welcome back to yet another installment of our webinar content. So today we have a super info-packed webinar on FSA versus HSA, and you can learn more about all of these different benefit plan options. Today, we are joined by Brady Moss, Relationship Executive of Optum Financial. And we are also joined by Angela Santini, the Client Services Manager for Optum Financial. Now, looking at today's agenda, we're going to learn what exactly is an FSA, all the different types, eligible expenses, contribution limits, how you can save, and so on. And then we're also going to talk about HSA, the differences between an HSA and an FSA, how that can help you save money, what it looks like in process, right? So we're going to go over all of these options that are most beneficial to you and your employees. Now, as always, all participants are muted and will stay muted. Please use the Q&A function in the chat over here. If we have time, we can get to your questions. Otherwise, we can follow up with you. We will always post our content on prestigepeo.com/webinars. So please look out for those and our past webinars as well. So that being said, I am just going to go ahead and call up Brady here to jump in and take us through a serious, awesome amount of content here for us. Hi, Brady.
Thanks, Melissa, and thank you for inviting me to today's webinar. So my name is Brady Moss, and as Melissa mentioned, I'm from Optum Financial. I'm going to run through some information, some important information as it relates to FSAs versus HSAs. I'm going to start with just an introduction of Optum Financial, and then we'll go ahead and get started right into the FSAs. So first of all, Optum offers a full suite of accounts for you and your employer to choose from. We also offer one of the broadest ranges of investment options for health savings accounts. We offer educational resources to help you understand your accounts or how your accounts work. We also you'll also enjoy features like smart technologies, so secure online and mobile tools to access your accounts and manage your accounts, plus 24/7 virtual customer support, which gives you access to experts who can answer questions and resolve issues anytime. Next slide, Melissa. Moving into what is an FSA. So a flexible spending account, or FSA, is an account designed to help you save money for healthcare expenses by using pre-tax dollars to pay for them. FSAs can help you budget, go further by using pre-tax funds for everyday expenses. Many FSAs have a use it or lose it rule, meaning you can't carry money over from year to year, and some FSAs allow a limited carryover rule where you have a grace period after the plan year ends to use up the funds in your HSA. Now, we'll run through some more specifics to the Prestige plan in just a couple minutes here. Next slide. There are three types of FSAs. The first and most common is a healthcare FSA. Healthcare FSA helps you pay for certain medical, dental, vision, prescription drug, and qualified over-the-counter expenses that are not reimbursed by group benefit plans or another source. The next type is a limited purpose FSA. It is offered alongside a health savings account, or HSA, to help pay for dental and vision expenses with pre-tax dollars so you don't have to dip into your HSA if you have one. And last, we have a dependent care FSA. It allows use of pre-tax dollars to pay for eligible child and elder care expenses while you work. Typical expenses are incurred for care of dependents under the age of 14 or older dependents incapable of self-care. Next slide. FSAs can help pay for qualified medical expenses like deductibles and copays. But your FSA covers you plus your family for a wide variety of items and services. Here are some examples of eligible expenses covered by different types of FSAs. Healthcare FSAs cover the widest range of expenses, ranging from acupuncture to hearing aids and even orthodontia. The limited purpose focuses on dental and vision-related expenses, covering dental visits, eye exams, LASIK surgery, and more. And dependent care FSA covers a variety of child care and other dependent care expenses ranging from after-school programs to sick child care, transportation to and from eligible care. It also covers expenses like adult daycare, elder and senior daycare. You actually can see a longer list, and Melissa, you may want to just give one quick click on this. You can actually see a longer list at optumfinancial.com, and you can also use our qualified medical expense tool to search for types of expenses that you may have to determine whether they're eligible. Next slide. So contributions for FSAs are set, contribution limits rather, are set by the IRS each year. For healthcare and limited purpose FSA, IRS limits are $2,850. If married, each spouse could have an FSA and contribute up to the maximum limits, bringing the family total contribution limits to $5,700 for 2022. For dependent care FSAs, the IRS contribution limits are $5,000 per year if you're married and filing a joint return, or if you're a single parent. If you are married and filing separately, you may contribute up to $2,500 per year per parent. Next slide. So this next slide goes through a sample of how much you can save. So let's assume Mike earns $55,000 a year and contributes $2,000 to his FSA. He makes a pre-tax contribution to his FSA of $2,000. That contribution lowers his taxable income by $2,000. So when he calculates his taxes at tax filing time, he pays $15,715 in federal income and Social Security taxes, not $16,308 as he would have without the $2,000 deduction. What that means is that Mike is actually saving $593, which gives him more money to spend on other expenses in his life. Next slide. So how can I access my account? You can easily access your account to check your FSA balances and process claims. The online portal gives you easy access to account information and educational tools. You can check out your account balances, submit claims, submit reimbursement requests, and pay your providers. You can download our mobile app from the App Store for a secure and simple way to check your account and make payment requests. You'll also receive a payment card. Your card will work at thousands of retailers and healthcare providers nationwide. Next slide. How can I use my FSA to pay for qualified medical expenses? It's easy to use your FSA to pay for qualified expenses. You can choose the way that works best for you. The most common way that people use their account to pay for qualified medical expenses is by using their payment card. You can use it online or on in-store purchases, as well as at your healthcare provider. You can also submit a claim using the mobile app or online. You just fill out a few simple pieces of information and simply snap a picture of your receipt and quickly upload the receipt to your request. If you prefer to submit paper claims, as I know some people do, that's fine too. You would complete and submit a claim form to Optum Financial with your receipt via fax, fax or U.S. mail. And then, Melissa, you may want to just give a quick click. This is a little plug to the Optum store. So Optum does have a store that has strictly qualified medical expenses available for purchases at store.optum.com. That is a one-stop shop for quality products and services at affordable prices. So it's similar to if you've heard of FSA store. There's a special discount just for being a Optum participant that you get 7% off of any of your purchases. Plus, it offers free shipping. All eligible expenses are clearly labeled, and it's so easy for you to buy what you need, knowing all items are qualified. Next slide, Melissa. So here are a few questions we frequently get on FSAs. So when can I request reimbursement for my account? So you actually have full access to your account as soon as your coverage starts, so day one. With healthcare FSA, funds are available the first day of the plan year. How will I be able to access my account funds? Your payment card will be the easiest way to access your healthcare FSA. Side note, those funds are also available day one of the plan year for you. The card lets you conveniently pay at the point of sale or in a provider's office. You can also pay with personal funds reimbursed from your account if you don't have the card on you. Will I have to submit documentation for my payment card expenses? First of all, we do limit requests for documentation for card payments by automatically verifying most expenses. In the instance that you do have to submit documentation, it is quick and easy to take a picture and upload it using the mobile app. You can find answers to more frequently asked questions at optumfinancial.com. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we've got some key dates and references to some limits on your accounts for FSAs. So first important date is going to be March 31st of 2022. It's the last day to submit 2021 expenses for reimbursement to task for the 2021 plan year. December 31st of 2022 is the last day to incur expenses for the 2022 plan year. March 31st of 2023 is the last day to submit 2022 expenses for reimbursement to Optum for the 2022 plan year. Now here, in reference to when we started out the conversation, we referenced some plans do allow for a carryover. So the Prestige plan does allow for a carryover due to some of the COVID regulations. In April of 22, anyone that has a balance up to $1,000 left in their FSA from 2021, those balances will be transferred to Optum in April of 2022. April of 2023, any balances up to $570 for the 2022 plan year will roll to Optum, will roll forward for healthcare and limited purpose FSA expenses. So keynote here is that in 2022 for the 2021 plan year, the IRS did allow some more flexibility with the limit that is allowed to roll. For 2022, those limits reverted back to the standard limits, which have increased to $570 from 2022 to 2023. Just in case anyone had any questions on why the difference. Next slide, please. So what's next? So it's important to remember that in most cases, you are only able to enroll or make changes to your account benefits once per year, unless you have a qualifying life event like a marriage, new baby, qualified major events that really change your life. In addition, a few additional tips as you move forward with an FSA. Know your plan deadline and what the deadline is to spend down, as I just mentioned, your FSA funds so you don't lose them. Some plans have carryover provisions like yours, and make sure you know if yours does. So we do know that answer. Once you have an FSA, you can use the the Optum store to purchase a range of eligible items, quality products and services at affordable prices and free shipping. So again, sorry for the commercial there, but the important thing to know about that is if you get to the end of the year and you've got some funds left over that are in excess of what are eligible to roll forward, that is an easy way to spend down your funds. So again, you can get Band-Aids, sunscreen, easy things that you use in your everyday life that may just help you spend down that balance. Next slide, and you might actually want to slide 2 slides forward as we're going to move into HSAs. So an HSA, or a health savings account, is a special account that lets you deposit pre-tax dollars to pay for qualified medical, dental, and vision expenses. It sounds just like an FSA, but it is different. If you can click, Melissa. So it is a companion account to a high deductible health plan. Anyone can contribute to that account. So think yourself, your employer, your neighbors, your parents, your grandparents, your parents contributing to a child. Anyone that wants to give you money is able to give that to you. The maximum yearly limit set by the IRS, or is set by the IRS. Funds in the HSA earn interest and may be invested, and your HSA is yours to keep. So that's the difference between the FSA and the HSA, is that an HSA is a bank account. Those funds are yours. You can use the HSA money whenever you need it for qualified expenses today or in the future. Next slide, please. So currently, there are no other financial tools under the tax code that offer the same benefits as an HSA. So contributions to your HSA are made on a pre-tax or on a tax-deductible basis. They're pre-tax when they're made by a payroll deduction, or tax-deductible if you contribute from your own personal account. You can withdraw HSA funds on a tax-free basis. So together, the triple tax benefits of pre-tax contributions, tax-free earnings on interest and investments, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses really can add up. HSAs are tax exempt for purposes of federal income tax filings. HSAs are also tax exempt for most state income tax filings. However, some states do tax your contributions and even potentially the earnings and capital gains. So you will want to consult with a tax advisor to see what your specific state's rules are. Next slide. And Melissa, I'm going to have you click as I go along here. So let's take a look at what those tax savings can mean for you. So go ahead and click, Melissa. So let's say you deposit $3,000 into your HSA through payroll deductions this year, assuming a 25% federal tax rate, 8.5% state tax rate, and 7.65% FICA tax. You'll save a total of $1,235 for the year. If you can go ahead and click again. The money you don't spend stays in your account and earns interest, which builds up tax-free. If you withdraw $2,000 to pay for qualified medical expenses, those funds are tax-free as well. Go ahead and click one more time here. At the end of the year, let's say you have $1,000 left in your account. You can carry that over into the next year. There is no use it or lose it. The HSA funds are yours. So that is a definite advantage when you're comparing FSAs versus HSAs. Go ahead to the next slide. And you're probably going to need to click a few times in here just because our marketing department got a little crazy on the click, click, click. You can you can use your FSA to pay for deductibles, co-pays, but your HSA covers you, your family, and for a wide variety of items and services. HSAs cover regular medical expenses like hospital charges and prescription expenses, as most people would expect. The list of eligible expenses is even more expansive, and so this is just a sampling that you'll see on your screen here today. There are more available online that you can see through OptumBank.com. So it is also important to see these types of expenses that there are some that aren't currently covered by your HSA. So Melissa, if you can click a couple more times, I think. No, that's the one. So here's some quick examples of expenses that are not qualified. So you can find out more information using our qualified medical expense tool on OptumBank.com. So an important note is if you use your HSA to pay for non-qualified expenses, there are penalties. The funds you use will be tax-free will be taxable as income. They are subject to a 20% tax penalty, which does not apply to account holders age 65 and older, those who become disabled or enroll in Medicare. And next slide. The IRS determines the maximum amount you can contribute to an HSA every year. In 2021, you could contribute up to $3,600 for individual coverage and $7,200 for family coverage. In 2022, and in most years, you'll actually see an increase. So in 2022, the contribution limits did increase to $3,650 for individual coverage and $7,300 for family coverage. So here's an important factor for people as they're getting closer to retirement. So there is an opportunity to make a catch-up contribution to an HSA to build balances. You can help to pay for healthcare expenses during retirement. So you can contribute up to an additional $1,000 a year if you're age 55 or older. If both you and your spouse are 55 or older, you can both contribute an additional $1,000. The key here, though, is that your spouse cannot contribute to your HSA. They have to have their own that they can deposit into. You are not eligible to make catch-up contributions if you are receiving Medicare benefits, however. Go ahead to the next slide. And this one you'll actually want to click it one more time. All right. To be eligible for an HSA, you must have a high deductible health plan, or HDHP, you'll see it referred to as, that meets the IRS guidelines for the annual deductible and out-of-pocket limit. In addition, you must meet other guidelines listed here. So some examples are you are not enrolled. You're not enrolled in Medicare, TRICARE, or TRICARE for Life. Would be a reason that you would not be eligible to contribute. Other restrictions and exemptions also apply. You would always want to make sure that you consult a tax, legal, or financial advisor to discuss your personal circumstances, as we do know that everyone's circumstances are a little bit different. Next slide. And you can go ahead and click one more time. So a little known powerful tool about powerful feature of an FSA is that you can invest your funds. So this is big. Investing gives you a way to make your money work harder for you longer term. Once you meet the investment threshold, you can choose to invest in increments above that. So Optum Financial offers options for different types of investors. If you feel comfortable with mutual funds, Optum Bank offers a diverse set of over 30 funds to choose from. The funds have an average 4-star Morningstar rating and some of the lowest expense ratios in the industry. You can also help deciding which funds are right for you by signing into your account and using the asset allocation calculator. If you need help, if you need help investing, you can also get online investment support from Betterment. So Betterment is a tool that Optum offers free to you on our site. Betterment is the largest independent online financial advisor. Based on your responses to a brief online questionnaire on your goals and risk profile, Betterment will create a customized portfolio of exchange-traded funds for you. Betterment can help you keep your investments on track through auto deposits and automated rebalancing. When the time comes for you to use your HSA funds, Betterment automatically sells the right investments, allowing you to access your funds for eligible medical expenses without the hassle of needing to choose which investments to sell. As an important note about investing in an HSA, investing offers the opportunity to grow your funds for longer-term needs like paying for expenses in retirement. Not only does the money grow tax-deferred, but withdrawals from HSAs are also income tax-free, which makes a powerful retirement savings vehicle compared to a 401k or an IRA. Withdrawals from a 401k and IRA are taxed as ordinary income in retirement, which is usually a lower tax rate for most people. But withdrawals from an HSA are completely income tax-free. So maximizing your HSA contributions may be a good retirement savings strategy. And next slide. Oh, Melissa. Did we freeze?
I have it going on my end.
Let me see. think we should be on slide, I believe, 25. There it is. Okay. Accessing your account is easy. So you can quickly view your account. So it's very similar to that of the FSA. So you have access to online, mobile app, or the payment card. Online access gives you access to your account information, gives you access to health education, tools and resources, helps to check your balance and transactions, submit claims, reimbursement requests, and pay your providers. And it also gives you quick and easy access to your funds, so you can use them how you want. So download the Optum Bank mobile app from the App Store for a secure and simple way to check your account, make payments, gives you the ability to take pictures of your receipts, save them for future purposes, or use them as part of a reimbursement request, and store your items in your document store in the event of a future audit. And then again, you also do receive a payment card, which is how most people would utilize their funds to pay for expenses at any retailer or provider's office nationwide. And next slide. So a few common questions that we get on HSA is who owns the HSA. So as I mentioned, it is an actual bank account, so you own it. An HSA is your account. It never expires, and the funds always roll over. Even if you change jobs or retire, the money in your HSA is yours to keep. Do I need to keep my receipts? Yes, you are responsible in case of questions or audit by the IRS to prove distributions for eligible medical expenses. Because money taken out of your HSA is tax-free and it may only go towards eligible medical expenses, it's best to keep documentation in case of a potential audit. So while you may not need to submit receipts, your income tax returns, with your tax returns, you should hold on to them should you ever get audited. And then final question, I have an HSA, can I open another if I qualify? Yes, absolutely. You can have an HSA at another institution. You can open an HSA with Optum Financial as long as you're eligible to have an HSA, and even better, you can combine your HSAs for greater convenience in one account. So there are advantages of doing that. It typically will save you on administrative costs, and again, Optum's accounts offer great investment opportunities should you reach that threshold. There are forms available online to walk you through the steps to combine your accounts. With that, Melissa, I will turn it over to you for Q&A and wrap up. I did fly through that, so I apologize.
No, not a problem. We do have a couple questions. If you have the time, I'll definitely read off to you what I see here through our chat here. All right, so let's take a look at, all right, so we might not have like the answers at our fingertips, but we can also, I guess, reference the FSA store. Contact lens solutions. Do we happen to know if that is covered by an FSA?
I'm not positive off the top of my head. Angela, do you happen to recall if Contact Solution is one of the available over-the-counter items available for reimbursement?
Yes, I've seen that covered, but we will absolutely get documentation out to you confirming.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. How about every year, if you maintain an FSA, do you get a new card every year, or is your existing card reloaded once that new benefit year begins?
That is a great question. So your card is reloaded each year.
Awesome. And I believe you did mention this, but if you could confirm, no changes to your FSA allowance can be made unless you have a qualifying life event, which allows you to then make changes to your benefit enrollment.
Exactly. That is correct. So a comment there. So that's where an HSA does offer you a little more flexibility. You can adjust the amount that you're having deducted really kind of at any time throughout the year, versus with an FSA, you make an election. It is a set election unless you have a qualified event, and typically your payroll deductions remain the same all year.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet.
A couple more questions if we have the time. So I know you had mentioned regarding your HSA is yours, right, if you have one. So is there any context around what that actually looks like? Let's say if you have a change of in employment, you know, does it look any different? Do you just get to keep that account? Is there anything to look out for?
Yep, so that account does remain yours. It is fully available for you in the future, even if you're not enrolled in a high deductible health plan. The big key to know there is that if you go to a different employer and they don't offer a high deductible health plan, you can use the funds that are in the HSA for your medical expenses. You just can't contribute any longer, but it works the same as your own personal checking or savings account where the funds are yours, they'll remain yours. And like I mentioned, a lot of people build their funds up for retirement and they just continue to let them build. So they may leave an employer several times and keep an HSA open with a balance with the intent to use it during retirement.
Right. Awesome. All right. Now, one more question. Now, I do see a lot of questions regarding what is covered or what isn't covered. So everybody, this particular deck, which has information about what is covered and what is not covered, are going to be on our website. So it's prestigepeo.com/webinars. If you don't see items that you're curious about on that list, there are links within this webinar that the team put in here to give you, more information about things that are covered, that are not covered. So you'll definitely have that at your fingertips once this is posted. However, I do see a question here that is pretty interesting to me. So let's say you are benefit eligible with your organization, but you are actually on, your spouse's benefits. So you are not enrolled through your company. Can you still enroll in either an FSA or an HSA without being enrolled in the medical plans?
You can. So it is very important to know if you are in a high deductible health plan with your spouse's employer. So the reason that I say that is because you can open your own HSA, whether it's through Optum or completely on your own, and have contributions posted to it. So if it's through Prestige, you would want to enroll in the HSA so they can make payroll deductions for you. You just want to make sure that you don't go over, for the HSA, you don't go over the family limits for contributions. On an FSA, you can actually have an enrollment for every employer that you're at. So if your spouse has an employer, if you have two employers, technically each employer that you are employed at will allow for you to have an FSA up to the federal limits for each employment. So yeah, you don't have to be on a health plan in order to have an FSA.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much. I do see just a number of questions kind of wondering about different things that are covered that aren't covered. A lot of the questions that were asked were definitely covered here within this webinar. So please, once it is posted, take a look at that. If you still have questions afterwards, please reach out to your benefits specialist. We will make sure to, partner with the team here today to make sure that you have everything you need to know about this. Again, Brandy, thank you so much. This was super informative. I personally learned a lot, so I think this is going to be a highly sought out webinar deck for all of us here. So, and Angela too, thank you so much for participating with us. Hopefully we'll have you back again another time. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. And for those who are still on, thank you for joining again for another webinar. As you can see here, we have our Insights newsletter. Please, visit us on our socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We have our podcast, and then don't forget to download the mobile app so you can just access your service teams and your personal information right at your fingertips. Any, feedback is always welcome. We want to make sure that we are putting out as much important content to you that is useful to you. So please let us know what you want to see. And with that, have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.